Okay. Technology, you gotta love it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to What the Health, our segment today on Friday, September 15. And I am Mia Krishnaswamy. I've been a part of this incredible company, LifeVantage, for gosh, a decade or more now. My husband joined me in the business 5 years ago. Both of us have a background in the performing arts. I was an actress and singer in the Broadway and opera genres. He is a composer, violist, violinist. And honestly, when we were introduced to this by my sister, I just wanted to age better. Both of us did. Well, actually, I think that was more my initial push. He just valued his marriage. But initially, we just wanted to benefit from these products. And then when you are benefiting from them, you naturally want to share them with others. These products are really revolutionary, and we all have our health in common. And so we just fell in love with this community and the people and the opportunity to make a difference. So that's a little bit about our story. Today, our guest is Adrienne Gray. Adrienne lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and she's going to be discussing firsthand the experience that she's had with activating her young son. Um, I'm going to read a little bit of her bio here. Adrienne is a wife, mom of two, health and fitness coach, fitness competitor, content creator, and going on 20 years as a cosmetologist. She owns two businesses, Fuel Good, that focuses on healthy treats and drinks to fuel our body and our minds, and Glam and Glow, which is more than just hair care. Adrienne loves to help others look more radiant, feel more youthful, and gain more self-love. She's passionate to teach others how to take back control of their health and live a fulfilling, purposeful life. So welcome, Adrienne. We're so happy to have you with us today. And, why don't we start off by you just sharing with our audience how activation, how you were introduced to activation, and first share what was going on in your life and with your son, and just take us down that road and fill us in a little bit. The floor is yours, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. So about 2 years ago, 2021, I would call it by we were led to learn about activation through divine intervention. And we had no idea at the time that there was something out there that gave your body the ability to heal itself. And so I want to keep this simple and to the point and beneficial to those that are listening. Our story is one I will someday write a book on. It is that lengthy. So I'm going to share points with you of where we were, what we discovered, and what's led us up to where we are today. And so about 2 years ago, we found ourselves in a place in our journey where we were way too self-reliant on prescription medications for my son. And which really are just band-aids, right? So we, trust me, prior to being at this point, we tried everything. We tried going the therapy route, books, we took classes, we changed his diet, we did supplements, we did chiropractic, we did OT, we tried even massage. There were so many different modalities that we tried. We meditated, we removed all the household toxins. I could go on and on and on about all the many things we did prior up till this point. But yet here we were in our journey, another doctor's appointment, which were weekly, was normal for us. He was on a ton of medications, and yet here we were, another doctor appointment to now look at tumors. I was at the place in our journey where I was breaking down. I was losing hope. And I remember the moment that I prayed, and I asked the exact words, help lead me to somebody that can help us, because we hit so many dead ends time after time. And we just kept getting handed a band-aid, or a no, nothing's wrong. Well, so I found myself the same day I prayed, getting led to the thought that maybe I should take him away and out of the polluted city for his birthday. And before we have this PET tumor scan done. So I got onto Airbnb, and lo and behold, I found the Merrills, cute little quaint cabin. There's 3 hours away in Pine Top. And so I told my husband, we're leaving and we're going there tomorrow, me and Caleb. And he's like, so we had a little debate back and forth. Like, he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And so by midnight, we had solidified, and I put in the request, which should have never gone through, because after that hour, it should have locked us out, but it didn't. So the next morning we woke, we got the request that said was accepted. So that morning, my son got up and we left, and we headed to Pine Top. Upon arriving, I met Anna, and Anna told me she wasn't supposed to be there that weekend. She told me she had a last minute thought to stay. And again, by divine intervention, we met, and she shared with me, as we were talking and we connected as special needs moms, she introduced me to oxidative stress, which all my research, all that I've done, I've never heard that word, not one time, until she uttered those words. And she introduced me to oxidative stress. She told me that there was going to be a doctor in town in my actual city, Phoenix, Arizona, that would be sharing more about it. And so I wasn't even there 24 hours. She handed me a pack of Axio and said, this really has helped my kids. And at that point in our journey, like, we were due for yet another increase in his ADHD meds. But I knew that wasn't a solution. I knew that was just a Band-Aid. And so she literally said, like, try this, instead. And I had no idea what it was all about, but I trusted it because I was led there. And so that next morning we left, I remember having the thought again, like, try this instead of his ADHD meds at noon that I normally give him. That I noticed, yes, it did help with his hyperactivity, but what it did is it kind of made him like zombie-like. It kind of turned out his creativity. It made him more like fixated. Yes, he could focus, but he wasn't paying attention to anything around him. He was more recluse. He wasn't the same child that I knew him to always be. That was bright and brilliant child and happy and inquisitive. And at one time they wanted to test him for gifted. This was not my child. So the child I saw coming up were all those things: recluse, moody, because he seemed to be at times on and off, irritable. He had no appetite. It suppressed his appetite. Anyway, so I tried to talk to him, was just kind of to himself. So on the way home, in the short time that I gave him this Axio packet, I saw my child come back to life. I saw his radiant smile again. I saw the creativity. I saw affection and love and all the things that you would hope for your child that during our journey we lost. We saw that child back. And so when we ride back in Phoenix, I trusted the process and I followed up. I went to the meeting and I learned more about oxidative stress. I met with the Dr. Sveta, the wonderful woman, and I started sharing a little bit of my story. And like I said, it's a book. So she said, well, let's meet on a Zoom like this one today, and let's talk about what's going on with him and what we could potentially do to help. And she introduced me to Protandim and FR2. And so I was skeptical. I was like, one more thing. I don't know. I trusted Axio. That worked great, but I don't know. He's doing IVIG infusions. He's on 10 medications. He's seeing 8 different specialists. He's sensitive to everything under the sun. Like, he can't even go outside to play because it's too polluted. He can't even go in the swimming pool because the chlorine he would have a reaction to it. Many different foods we had to remove out of his diet, but it wasn't sustainable. So I trusted it once again. And we checked in with my doctor and she's like, yes, this will help his immune system, I believe, in place of his IVIG. We don't mitigate, we don't treat, we don't cure, but we give the body the tools that they need to heal and do the work itself. So from there, I saw my child come back to life. I saw him playing with toys again. I saw him doing make-believe again. I saw him sleeping good, eating good, playing better with his sister than he's ever played with. I saw this light bulb go off in my child of creativity. All the things that were lost once came back to him. A little bit of his background. When he was 3 years old, he was hospitalized with pneumonia. That potentially could have been the trigger that set off the series of events. But from there, we followed up with immunology. And they, as doctors mostly do, they treat. and they look at things to Band-Aid. And so they put him on Singular. And at the time we didn't
Can
know
you
because
can you explain a little bit about that? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your
so
flow.
Singular is supposed to treat asthma. And so, or the generic version, Montelukast, is what this innocent little chewy pill, you just take it at night. There was no discussion on anything that we should be aware of. Well, that was the catalyst that set off a series of hell in our lives for the next 6 years, where little by little his personality changed, but we couldn't really tie it to that because again, like it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a course of series of years where, at 3 years old and he's more irritable and fussy, we just think that's a normal 3-year-old thing. And then it's led from he has no emotional liability, like he can't control himself, to then just really defiant and nothing goes his way and would just throw these fits, to then violence and rage, to the point of then there were moments where he's saying he wants to kill himself and he
Ah,
wants to, and we were like, this is not normal by 5 years old. So
he's not, he's 9 or 5 at that time.
time. So this
Ah,
went from 3 years old to 5 years old. Things just started spiraling downhill. There were moments of we would see our child again. Like I said, in kindergarten, they wanted to test him for gifted. He was extremely brilliant. He at one time he had loved reading. He loved drawing. He loved. He was so inquisitive. You would have these intellectual, deep conversations with him. And then by first grade, we noticed that he started, because by that point we tried everything. We did the books, we did the therapy, we did the classes, we did, like I said, all the things before. And so we were at the point of like, okay, let's go get evals done. And so all we came back with, oh, at risk for this. It was inconclusive. Oh, ODD. And then that led us to then, it was just a rabbit hole, one thing to the next, one doctor to the next doctor. And so we finally went down after we'd done so many different things, we came across sensory processing disorder. Great, this is it. We can get him the help. We can turn things around. We did the occupational therapy. It wasn't enough. He only got worse. There were times in our journey at the worst point, he would be trying to harm himself. He would unbuckle himself from the seatbelt. He would try to jump out of the car. He would try to run away into the street. At one point, the scariest point, a 5-year-old grabbing a knife and saying he wanted to die. So at that point, it led us to finally psychiatry, because we're like, we don't understand this. We did all the testing for all the things, and they came back, he's got a mood disorder. He's depressed. He's got anxiety. And so we went down that rabbit hole of putting him on one trial medication. And we saw little glimmers of hope. We took so many steps forward to take so many steps back. And then what exploded it all was a strep infection. That then again, we're discovering now what Montelukast did to his body was not only does it cause psychiatric symptoms, but it dysregulates your immune system, messes with your gut, your nervous system. And so that's what was happening to him. And it was the onset that led to many other autoimmune disorders and diseases. So
this was a drug that was prescribed to him as can you repeat the
free
drug?
asthma, but more of the drug in 24 hours goes to your brain than it does to your lungs.
And that was given to him when?
What?
When was that given to him?
So when he was 3, after hospitalization of pneumonia, and then he was on it up until through a whole journey, he was still on it when he was, 7, when he was diagnosed with, he was either 6 or 7 when he was diagnosed with the mood disorder. And then we still continued the therapy. We still did the diet changes. We did all the things. And then he got a strep infection, which triggers something called PANDAS. So it's a pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric symptoms associated with a strep infection. So his immune system was all out of whack, easiest way to put it. And so instead of this strep infection, attacking, your like it should, and having the normal, like my sore throat and, I don't feel good, I'm tired, instead it attacks your brain. And so it set off tics, it set more anxiety, OCD. We saw a regression in a few months' time, correlating to him getting sick with regression in his reading and his writing and his math. He didn't want to go to school anymore. He didn't want to do all the favorite things that he loved to do. I just literally saw my child slipping away from me. And luckily, the psychiatrist at the time, again, was strep infection, this. Okay, go to this specialist now. So here we were again, going to this specialist. And guess what? More drugs, anti-inflammatories. They didn't want to touch diet. Oh, no, it's not going to make a difference. And so here I was again trying to advocate for my son. We did all the protocol. We removed the tonsils. We did all the things. We eventually were led to find out he had an immune deficiency now also. And so then we applied for IVIG. IVIG treatments took us 6 months of fighting to finally get approval. And we thought that was the golden ticket. And so here we are, fast forward back 2 years ago, meeting Anna. Now they want nurse. We're already doing IVIG. We're on 10 medications.
Hi.
And my prayers led me to meet her. So again, we were on like all these psychiatric meds and eventually a doctor finally did find out, oh, this montelukast has a black box warning. You should go off of it. Well, guess what happened when we went off of it cold turkey? You have what are called withdrawal symptoms. And so that's what on top of the chaos that was going on, we had more things happen. He was having passing out episodes. He was having seizures.
Oh my goodness.
Sick little boy. And so again, we trialed and errored different meds, did all the things. And so when we met Anna and we were in the middle of doing these IVI treatments, they thought maybe the rest of his life he would need this needle in his arm for 2 hours for 5 hours for 2 days in a row. This was not a way to live. So what I saw when we started Protandim Nerve 2 was, again, my little boy started to come back to life. We checked in with his doctor. His doctor believed that this would modulate the immune system better than potentially the other risky treatments we were doing. So we decided to swap over and just full blown go this. And it's pretty amazing because about a month ago from this infusion company, I got a list of all his meds this long he was on at the time. And they're like, oh, we just want to update, so you can bring this into all your doctor's appointments. And this list this long of what he was on. And I just got the biggest smile on my face because I'm like, guess what? He's not on any meds anymore. And the last 2 things they reported he was on was Protandim and FR2 and Axio. And so from there, it has been a journey continually. That's part 1. So little by little, he came off each medication one at a time. We checked in with his doctor. He had less doctor's visits. He was growing. He was gaining weight. It was miraculous to see him drawing again, starting to take up piano lessons, starting to play sports again. My little happy inquisitive boy was back. Until part 2, we went off Singular again, because I didn't tell you this, but he was put back on it to treat stuff at cost because we weren't aware there were black box warning. Well, we knew the black box warning, but we did not know of withdrawal symptoms. So when we saw him get worse coming off of it, we thought, oh, he needs to be back on it. So fast forward, we'd been with Protandim Axio for about 6 months, remission, seen my boy come back. And then we just cold turkey removed that drug because he was doing so well. He doesn't have asthma stuff. He went off his inhale. He went off everything except for 2 medications, Singular, and another one to treat other allergies. So we went off and then we saw regression. We saw him become violent and angry. He got sick for like 3 times in 3 months. He started getting tics again. He started having nightmares. He wouldn't sleep. He wouldn't sleep in his own bed. He didn't want to go to school. It was back to the nightmare we were living. And we thought to ourselves, how could this be? Okay. All right, God, here we go. Let's pray again. Pray for some more answers. So lo and behold, that was in March. So come June, LifeVantage was going to be launching a new product. Had no idea what it was. Bought the plane tickets, got my whole entire family to Utah. At the event, I was sitting next to one of the doctors in the company that answered my prayers. He not only guided me with, okay, this and this and this food wise, remove this from his diet, give him all these things, but you should put him on collagen. Oh, really? So we had little samples as soon as we got back home, started him on a half of the collagen. And I'm telling you, it was miraculous once again to see my little boy come back. Part 2, he started sleeping better. He was happier. It lifted his dark cloud fog that he was in, his depression. He was becoming creative again, playing with his toys again, sleeping better, eating good. I literally saw my child once again come back to life. So whatever these products are doing for his body, they're not just collagen. Most people think hair, skin, nails. No, it goes way beyond that, brain to gut. So it was helping him to heal once again. And so here we are today, a year after that point, and he is back into sports. He's loving drawing. His artistic. It's amazing to see his artistic abilities come back. He's sleeping in his own bed. And the best part of all those sensitivities that he has started to have again, and we had to remove all these foods from his diet. For his birthday this last weekend, we were able to make him a regular cake with gluten, with dairy. Yesterday, I bought him an ice cream cone at McDonald's. And to see him be able to live a normal life now, and to be able to see him, his best self, is a godsend for us. And I'm hoping sharing our story, I know it's a lot, will be the light and hope, the knowledge, the truth that maybe some of you out there, like, if it's possible for my son, like, what's possible for you and your own personal health and your family.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I didn't even, there, we can stop it right there. This is so beautiful. I could burst into tears just at the thought of what you were dealing with this child, that nothing was helping. And his response to everything was so intense. And, for a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old to have those kinds of feelings that they wanted to end their life, it's just, and to have that total transformation, just because his body was ignited to heal in a much more powerful way. And that's what we have with these products. They are igniting our body's ability to heal. It's not just supplementing a deficiency. It's turning on everything that we need to be able to function the way that we're meant to function. And thank God exactly that you found the answers, that dear Anna and you met, and being moms of kids with special needs, that you had that in common, you had that conversation, and what blesses one blesses all. And it was just, it's such an incredible gift to have products that can make a difference in people's lives, whether they're young, whether they're older. Collagen is the glue that holds us together. We know that. And, when our bodies are stressed, they can overreact. And then there's a myriad of symptoms that are out there, no matter who we are and what age we are. But the bottom line is, we have to give the body the tools that it needs to function optimally. And you found the answers. And that's why we need to share what we have. So thank you so much, Adrienne. I don't even have any questions. I don't know if anybody in the chat does. Let me look and see. No, nobody's written anything. If you do have questions, whoever's on, pop them in the chat real quick and we'll get them answered if we can. But thank you all for joining us here for this What the Health segment. Thank you, Adrienne, for sharing your amazing story with your beautiful son, Caleb, who was 9 when you were introduced to activation. And so he's 11 now. Is that correct?
11. He just had his 11th birthday.
Oh, it's absolutely so inspirational and tear jerking. Absolutely, it is. I mean, when you can make this kind of a difference in somebody's life, just by giving their body what it needs to function optimally. We know we live in a very toxic world, and we have to become our own health advocates, because we have to be proactive. We have to be preventative. Go ahead. Sorry.
What it was we used. So what made all the difference was Axio. It's a nootropic brain food drink.
Yeah, nootropic, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Magnesium, L-theanine, green tea, comes in like decaf and caffeinated. But that's the drink on the drive home that he had, that I saw the total switcheroo in his mood, and got him off his ADHD meds. And then we introduced the Protandim NFR2 that lowered his stress and lowers your inflammation, gives your body a chance to do its own healing, and it slows down Like it helps your body to get all the garbage out, like to detox.
Yeah.
And then after that was the collagen that
Which
round two.
makes up everything. It connects everything.
Yeah.
So
We did try the omegas like along the way, and it was amazing because the first time we had gone off this medication, like it was interesting to see the first time he had gone off and what happened, and then the second time. And like, although like he did have symptoms the second time, they weren't as bad. Like he wasn't passing out, he wasn't having seizures, he wasn't having trips to the psychiatric unit at Phoenix Children's, and he was not yeah, that was the big ones right there. And I knew this time what not to do. I'm like, I'm not jumping the bandwagon. You take him to a psychiatrist, get him on a slew of medications again. Like I know his body will heal. It will just take time. He just needs more time. And
If
so yeah,
sorry, Camelia is asking, is he still on some of those? Is he on any medications right now?
no, on zero meds.
So beautiful.
Yeah, zero medications. And like I said, it's taken him this time around about a year and a half to heal from coming off that other drug. Um, but this time in LifeVantage, we were able to, like, we're a community, we're a family, able to reach out. And there were doctors in the medical board that were able to like guide me. So I did get him on the megas for a while. He did do the Nerf one for a while, but we had to be so careful because he became really hypersensitive to so many things. But he was fine with the Axial Protandim. And then when we introduced the collagen, that's where we started to see big changes. And that's also, I use that personally for my whole family, like in place of ibuprofen. I mean, I know it doesn't cure, treat, prevent disease, but like as far as inflammation for myself, I've sprained a finger and it's healed it in a week, just collagen alone. And I've sliced and diced my fingers open a couple times. The fastest healing I've ever experienced, and without like the throbbing and the pain and the long healing process. I had a scab fall off in 4 days from slicing my finger open because the skin like underneath healed so fast. So I'm
Yes.
like, it has the capability to heal the outside. What is it doing for the inside?
Well,
So
yes. And that collagen, for those of you that may not know, is not just a collagen, a supplement. It is actually turning on the genes that are responsible for making collagen in our bodies and turning off the ones that cause us to lose it. So it's producing collagen again. And that's incredible. And that's why we're seeing such incredible quick results like this. So thank you so much for everyone who's joined us today. If you have any questions, you can get in the chat because this is being streamed into our customer group, Vitality Living. So you can get in the chat and ask your questions and get them answered, or get back to the person who invited you to this. We really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much, Adrienne. Your story is just so touches the heartstrings big time. We're so grateful to hear your story. Oh, absolutely. Yes. So thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week for What the Health. I don't know when it is or what the topic is yet, but you'll hear all about it. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful weekend. God bless.